Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of LiamsHockey, brought to you by Hosie and Brown Automotive. My dear friend Rod Brown, yes sir. Going to try and roll these puppies out, as I said last week on Mondays, as often as possible. And Hosie and Brown have, very happy to say, have stayed on as our title sponsor, and we're right back to the garages. And a little bit later, we'll be pumping the tires, if you excuse the pun, of Mike's Mobile Mechanic Operation, which is on Pollock Road, 2512 Pollock Road. Probably not a road that a lot of you are familiar with. It's out in the North Gore area, but we'll talk a little bit more about his fantastic operation that him and his wife Joy have been putting together for about a decade now, doing extremely well. So they're our feature garage today. Just a couple of things here as I ease back into these on Mondays. First of all, thanks for all the comments on Jack McGuire. I think that's something that I'm going to try and do more of over the course of this winter is maybe hook up with somebody and sit down with them. I don't have the top of the line professional equipment or anything, but I think the most important part anyway is just having them sit with me on camera as we did with Jack and talk largely about his musical background and phenomenal career, but also his love of hockey, man. He grew up, he's not that much older than me, and grew up a hardcore hockey fan, big-time Leaf fan in his house. He explained why, and everybody's like, I'm a Habs fan, everyone's got their thing, and he's just such a fabulous man. Him and his wife, they're just incredible people. So got a lot of nice comments on that, and really happy to have brought that, because Jack is extremely close friends with Rod, obviously, as am I, Rod Brown, and so it was a real neat thing to do, to sort of bring that together as part of LiamsHockey. So in today's, really, just want to get into it right away. I'm talking about the Montreal Canadiens. I mean, as much as the Ducks are probably the feel-good story so far here, as most teams get up to the quarter pole. The Habs are already there. Detroit, a couple other teams in and around 20. Still, you have teams down. Ottawa, obviously, off for COVID, playing tonight, first time in 8 days. And some other teams have already had bye weeks and things of that nature, 4 or 5 days off, 6 days off. So they're behind. There's a kind of a disparity, which we're used to seeing. But Montreal's already played 20. And the comments... Anybody that's saying blow it up and try and make trades and this and that, they're just such idiots. Look, the year's a write-off. Even before the news on Weber and Price hit, I felt that they were going to be in tough, I figured, battling for a playoff spot in the Atlantic all day. I mean, that's basically had them down in that 4 and 5 hole. Figured they'd be no worse than a wild card. So it's definitely a significantly worse record than anticipated. But I wasn't anticipating almost half their roster not being available on most nights. I mean, they played until July 6th or 7th. I believe Tampa won Game 5, I think, on that Wednesday night. I want to say July 6th or 7th. It's ridiculous. Look at Tampa. I mean, it's not like they're running away with a division title either right now. It's just they've got so much depth. Even with Braden Point out now, let's hopefully not lose anybody else here getting close to the Olympics. Braden Point's on my team all day, hasn't Nathan McKinnon. I know they'll both be back. But, let's go in there with a healthy squad. I'll talk about that in the ensuing weeks. The Habs got to just write this year off. You've got the injuries. You have got the players that either opted out, like a Corey Perry, Thomas Tatar, what have you. You've got, obviously, we know there's no way they were going to pay Danault that kind of money. And yes, LA's played well. And he's played well, and he's got a few points, and he's looking pretty good out there. But had Bergevin paid Danault that money for the little offensive output he's brought to the table for Montreal, despite what he meant in the playoff run, there's no way they were giving that contract to Danault. No way. Perry leaves on his own. Kotkaniemi, the offer sheet, we know. I mean, come on. He's got 3 points in Carolina. He's playing 9 minutes a night on their fourth line. They can carry him. They are so strong as well. Now, I've touched on it on our podcast, Sticks and Taps, with Paul Cuthbert, and talked about the 3 substantial changes there on defense. bringing in D'Angelo and Ethan Bear, moving out Dougie Hamilton, as good as he is, probably make Team USA in the Olympics. Kind of hope he does. I don't think he's going to be a significant contributor on any team that's going to win or compete for Stanley Cup. So Carolina makes those moves. What about a net? It's maybe the biggest thing is wholesale changes in net. And you got Freddie Anderson, who's started in Anaheim, went to Toronto. I don't know, didn't play poorly anywhere. Now he's lights out in behind an exceptional team in Carolina. And Kotkaniemi, first, he's going to take a massive pay cut if he re-signs. If they even offer him a deal. And if they do, and they probably will, because he's so young still and shows promise, he always has. You should not write anybody off till they're 24 anyway. But he's obviously much younger than that. And it just, the point is that Montreal would have got skewered as well for matching that at 6.1. So you got, on any given night, about 8 different bodies in the lineup. Not the least of which is your captain, Shea Weber, who played arguably as good a hockey as he had since he's come in the NHL. Maybe a year or two in Nashville where he was lights out, runner-up for Norris, that sort of thing. And he was such a rock. I mean, he was the first pick on 2 consecutive Olympic team candidates, not to mention the World Cup team in 2016. Automatic first pick all the time, rightfully so. And he just... he always was a good captain, but I think just really, really was in that role with Montreal during that incredible run last year. He's out, maybe done for the career, as we know. They'll need closure on that. And the big one was Carey Price. Nobody expected it. Nobody. And Jeff Petry, by all accounts, arguably his closest friend on the team. I know, obviously, Brendan Gallagher's known him longer and some guys, but it's well documented. Jeff Petry's tweet that he put out after Carey's wife made her comment. This is several days after the news broke, and then Petry went, "Look, I ride to the rink every day with the guy, and our wives are friends, and I had no idea. I had no idea." And man, that spoke volumes to me. And what's been substantiated by that is his play. Like, this guy didn't get stupid overnight. He didn't go from 30 to 40 years of age overnight here, Jeff Petry's playing the worst hockey of his life. So much so that he should be out of the lineup. They should not be dressing him. And I would not be surprised that if they made that move, the coaching staff, to say, "Jeff, take a night off, bud." Plus or minus, he's responsible for 2 to 3 goals every night, either defensively or what he's not contributing offensively. This time last year in the season, they started later, but, this much into the season of what was a 56-game season, he was a Norris Trophy candidate. First 22 games, 3-4 games of the season, he was leading all D in scoring. He's got 2 assists, 20 games. Come on. He can't get a puck in from the point to save his life. He's a shadow. He's a shell of himself. I would not be surprised if he has suffered significant mental anguish with what's happened to one of his closest friends, if not his closest on the team, and a close friend off the ice, as he alluded to himself in the tweet, the wives and everything else. They have families, young families. This is devastating. And it, I'm sure, has had a massive, massive effect on the rest of the team as well. These are extenuating, unusual circumstances. And as a result, look, they got a half dozen guys that can score 25 to 30 all day. Toffoli, Gallagher, Hoffman, bring him in, he gets hurt. Perreault, bring him in, he gets a hat trick, gets hurt. These guys came in to replace some of the guys we lost, and they're out of the lineup. Drouin takes a shot in the head, he misses 5 games. He was leading the team in scoring when he went out. Played good on Saturday night, looked good again. He's having a bit of a bounce back year. It's hard to gauge or measure it because the whole team has been so bad collectively. Structurally, they're just horrendous. Horrendous. And their give a F meter, it's just, they're trying out there, but structurally and their ability to move the puck through 3 zones, gain anything in the offensive zone, notwithstanding the few blips that they've had, including this past Saturday, which they nearly blew. You're up 5-0 with 12 minutes to go. Next thing you know, a minute 38 to go, it's 5-3. I mean, it's pretty crazy stuff. Pretty crazy stuff. But the people who are calling for any changes, specifically significant type changes, shut up. Idiots. You got to write this year off. And you've got to get closure on Carey. At some point, we hope, he'll be back. But with no timeline on this, what is he going to come back as? What's he going to actually be able to do? I mean, there's so much of an unknown there. You're going to need closure on Shea Weber. Edmondson, they had 2 out of their 4D have been out. One of your number 1 penalty killers, Paul Byron, out, probably done. Probably won't be bringing him back anyway. Carey Price, the guy who's been your anchor, your rock back there, largely responsible for that run last year, along with timely scoring. Cole Caulfield, terrible start, send him down, 5.6 games, including a couple goals. And he's looked okay since he's come back. Certainly the shifts that he's played, he's got a little bit of a zip back to his game, but the offense isn't there yet, and we'll see how this comes out. He's so young, and he's going to be so good. And, Suzuki, slow start. Then he got really hot for about 8-9 games. He's been a little cold again here the last few games again or so. So this is a write-off year. You're not moving any of these guys, nor should you. You've got a lame duck GM. And this is the first things that need to happen. Get Jeff Petry off the ice. Get him off the ice. Sit him down. Whether he needs to see somebody, whether he needs help or not, you got to get him out of the lineup. And by doing so, not only I think are you going to then force, that's almost like forcing 8 on Jeff, I really think he'd be relieved. I really do. Instinctively, he wants to play. For sure, they all do. But they're so fragile right now. And they get down, they get behind. They're not coming back. And he is just absolutely lost on the ice like I've never, ever seen since he's come in the NHL. Get him out. That's the first thing. You got to make a decision here on Bergevin. You're not going to see any deals made anyway where they are in the standings. Forget about it. Yeah, I know. Ottawa were 14 points out in 2015 on February 10th. I know. St. Louis Blues were in last place on New Year's Eve, 2018-19. I know. Yes, there's been some miracles. No, I don't see it happening here. I don't really care. I had such an unbelievable time as a fan last year, and I understand. See, I understand what's gone on, how they've been affected mentally, physically. They've got the Stanley Cup hangover. They played till July 7th, whatever it was. You look at the Islanders and Vegas, the 2 other teams that were in the semifinals with Montreal and Tampa. With the exception of Tampa, and Vegas has been a couple wins in a row here right now, but they have not played well. Islanders are terrible. They probably will not make the playoffs. Can barely score in this new building. Forget about getting a win. They're 0-2. They'll get one. They'll do all right. They'll pick up some W's. Great coach, solid team. But you can't tell me they aren't having a bit of a hangover themselves here from coming 1 goal shy in Game 7 against the eventual Cup winner. They gave Tampa the hardest time. And they're showing the effects of that, as are Vegas. And they've been pounded by injuries as well. So, Tampa, will see how it plays out here. I didn't pick them to three-peat. I know they're going to be a tough out. Once again, Kucherov getting a nice break. What does he care? He's going to come back and be solid all day whenever he does come back. I'm assuming he's going to the Olympics. I would assume so. So that's going to have another effect on teams as well. Somebody could step up and get a win here in an Olympic year that you didn't expect. Who knows, right? Who knows? You just don't know. You could say Chicago was full value in 2010, I guess. Los Angeles in 2014, those Olympic years. Yeah. I don't know about that. They came off the mat there a couple times themselves. Did they take advantage because other teams were just worn out from having played in the Olympics with key players and things of that nature? I don't know. So somebody could come up the middle here this year, and it's not obviously going to be Montreal, and you should not be trying to look around to see who you can trade. And then the next thing, the haters all say, the contracts are too long anyway. It's a write-off year, man. You're paying the price on a lot of fronts for that incredible run last year that 30 other teams would have loved to been on. And they weren't. The Habs were, and Tampa repeated. So they're paying the price. And pun intended, but literally and figuratively, right? Because they're paying it for Carey in uncharted waters on the heels of Jonathan Drouin's mental health issues. And as we know, others in the league in the last few years have dealt with this as well. They've been public with it. It's a lot of people have gone public with their troubles and how they've sought help, which is great. This is the good thing about it. But the bad thing is the product on the ice. And that's just the way it's going to be. I wouldn't make a single solitary change, maybe a couple of cosmetic things. But I'm telling you right now, I wouldn't be moving anybody that's got term. They will be okay. Well, they'll get Edmondson back here at some point in time. Maybe Carey comes back, maybe he doesn't. Right now, just give me a healthy Jake Allen. I mean, holy lifting. Bad enough you had to force feed him into a starter role, which there's no way he really has the capability to play. And then he's playing lights out when he got hurt. So he'll probably be back sooner rather than later. Edmondson's skating as of today, which is November 22nd. I'll be touching on that date as I send out my birthday wishes to my favorite player of all time when we do a toast here in just a moment. Anyway, that's it on the Habs. All the idiots out there calling for anything significant. Petry out and figure out something on Bergevin. He's lame duck. Maybe Trevor Timmins too. I don't know. I don't have a problem with that if they want a clean house. Need somebody in place, though, for the draft next year. So I'd rather see changes sooner rather than later. People, well, where's Jeff Molson? Where's Jeff Molson commenting? It's not bothering me that he's not commenting. I mean, like, I see what's going on the ice. I know what's happened since July 6th or 7th. I fully understand why they are where they are. I get it. So, I mean, some of the guys I think will probably have a little bit of a bounce back. They'll go on a bit of a run probably late this year when it's mostly statistically then all said and done. That's what teams do. It's been the MO here in Ottawa for years. It's what they do. Nobody finishes stronger than the Senators. The last 3-4 weeks of a season, they get all sorts of wins. They're meaningless. Montreal will get them too this year probably. When it's a done deal, they'll sneak up, they'll play spoiler, they'll get some W's. Whether they get Carey back or not, I think right now, we heard he skated last week and now he hasn't been on skate since. He's in the gym allegedly, working out, trying to get shape physically, get back on the ice and redevelop the ability to play net again at the highest level, the National Hockey League. We'll see. We'll see where that's at. I mean, he stated himself, this is still the tail end of all the treatment. That's gone on since he has taken his break. So much respect to him, and Hab fans, you got to chill, man. You got to just chill. It's going to be a long year, and we're just paying the price in a lot of ways for what was just an incredible run, right? That's what it was. Only one other thing I want to say today. It's about the Hockey Hall of Fame. Just always amazing to me. I don't know how many people are going to end up watching this video. Let's just say, for argument's sake, for the hell of it, it's 500 people. 500 hockey fans. Let's just pick a number out of the air. I'll say out of 500 hockey fans who watch this video, there's probably 495 of you have never been on the Hockey Hall of Fame website. You've never been on. You think that the selection committee is a hidden secret. It's not. All the names are there. You have no idea that any fan, you, me, anybody, can nominate any player. Anybody can nominate any player. You want Alex McGillney in, you can nominate him as a fan. You can do it. You want Larmer, you want Fleury, you want, look, I did it for 20 years with Paul Henderson, I know. I mean, there's a process. It's all online. Go to the website, go to submissions. There's a process. And you as Joe fan can follow it. I mean, it means nothing in the big picture. You still need the help of the selection committee or somebody on it to bring your proposal to the group for discussion, debate, whatever, and a vote if they make it to a voting stage. But you can start the process yourself as Joe fan and send in a submission for perusal, for induction, for a player to the Hockey Hall of Fame. It's all online. You know, it's so easy, right? To criticize and be negative, and that, like, I'm the king of that for what's going on in the Hall. I'm not a fan of how they conduct themselves. I think it's become the Hall of Very Good, but I go back to, I've stolen this line from one of the all-time greatest. He's in the Hall of Fame as a builder. He's a dear friend. His name is Brian Kilray. And I sat down with him one time a couple of years ago. He's a member at Rideau, where I am as well, Rideau Golf Club. #1 track in the region of Ottawa-Carleton. Home, again, of the men's A intersectional team. And I talked to Killer about this guy and that guy. He said, you know what, Liam? I just congratulate them all. Man, you get inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame, whatever category. Congratulations. Congratulate them all. There are people I think should be in, sure. But if you make it in, congratulations. Somebody thought you had a hell of a career, and enough people voted for you, and you got it, and you're in. You deserve your night, your acknowledgement. And you know what? He's right. He's absolutely right. I swear to God, from that moment on, I changed. I started winding down my 20-year run with Henderson, and I'm formally done it now. Although I say that, and there's a Toronto Star. I think it was a man named Bill Reed. I can't remember. Reed was his last name. Simon Dingley, a longtime CBC excellent friend and reporter, sent me the story. And I was blown away that, kind of out of nowhere, really, on the Saturday Star, probably one of the biggest circulated papers in North America is the weekend Saturday Toronto Star. Definitely 7 figures worth of circulation. Anyway, huge story on how Henderson is one of, if not the most obvious choice, especially as we turn the calendar year here in a few weeks and we get into 2022, and then by effectively then we are in the 50th year anniversary of the Summit Series. And I think 2 years ago was the one that really, after my proposal with the help of Michael Minot and Pat DeRoche and a number of other like-minded people as sponsors, and we did what we did on Parliament Hill with Paul and his wife Eleanor, and I put that in as a submission. Not only does Paul not get in yet again, but Alexander Yakashev. Oh, I mean, it's a head scratcher, man. You can't lose any sleep over it. I guess as I get older, I'm mellowing out, I'm losing the want to just fight everything all the time about this. So I've said I've pretty much bailed on doing any other sort of formal push. But if somebody else jumps in and does something and they want my support, I'll offer it for sure. But in terms of leading the charge, I know he's blackballed. I know the politics. I know he's never getting in. But if somebody else wants to take a rip at it and you're watching this, you go fire up. I'll jump in with you and see if I can help out a little bit. I'm just not going to lead that fight anymore. I'm done. Done doing that. But as a fan, you can do it. So if you really want Lorne Chabot in from the 1930s, if you think somebody else is a massive oversight, whoever it may be, you can do it. You can nominate the person. All right, we're going to wind her down here. So that was a quick one today. Let's see. What we got here? Go with a little Dunrobin Distillery. The only one. Got lots of breweries in the Ottawa area. Microbreweries. There's only one distillery. It's out in the West End. Good friends of mine. They sent me this bottle. I'm going through it pretty good. Might have to get another. I'm going to have a shot of that today. So, before our toast here to my birthday boy, my favorite player of all time, Yvan Cournoyer, 78 years young today. Today's sponsorship garage, courtesy of Hosie and Brown Automotive, is Mike's Mobile Mechanic, 2512 Pollock Road. Now, that's just outside the village of North Gore. And Mike Bastien and his wife, Joy, run a kick-ass operation. They are 10 years into their 11th year, I believe, set up there. They do great. They have got an incredible stable of regulars that go back, largely like a lot of the garages in the Hosie and Brown umbrella of parts being delivered out there. So they all work under the same umbrella there under Hosie and Brown, get their parts. And because Joy said, I had such a great conversation with her on the phone. I talked with Mike a little bit after at the end, but they treat everybody like family. And like so many of the other garages, they've got their own thing. They're big on fleets. With fleets, that's multiple vehicles under somebody's business model or operation. So when they need, and you want to try and stay consistent on this, could be brakes, could be just simply as oil changes, could be just maintenance, regular maintenance. And typically you want to bring one, you want to get them all in. Well, that's something that Mike's Mobile Mechanics does religiously. They are A to Z in terms of anything else that you need. What's the great line she gave me? Joy said that one of their catchphrases is, "Don't panic, I'm an honest mechanic." I mean, you gotta love that. And you talk to them on the phone. Their garage is located right by their property. So people pull in and say, well, my God, they live right there. Like, yeah, easy commute to work. But I mean, it's just a semblance of holy lifting. I mean, they've built this operation right beside where they live. They run it first rate. They treat their customers first rate. They get repeat business like crazy. And they take care of, she told me that they take care of a lot of boats, ATVs, trailers. It's outside the bailiwick of what a lot of people would think would be just okay, I need front brakes done, or I need an oil change done, or oh my God, I need a new alternator. No, they do, like all mechanics, do so much more, but I love the fact that she stressed that they step outside the box and handle those sorts of things as well. So, glass replacement, another thing she said. I mean, these are things that I wouldn't think of as a standard, as part of the operation. But 2512, I know a lot of people that do Pollock Road. I know a lot of people that do watch this do typically kind of live in my region, in my area here. And we're very blessed. We have a number of people that we all can go to. Most of you probably have a regular person. But look, if you're watching this and you're in the area, man, give them a call. Mike's Mobile Mechanic, they're in the book. 10 years in operation. 2512 Pollock Road, just outside North Gore. Go and see Mike and Joy. And they've got a nice little staff there. They've got a couple of apprentices. They've got a full-time guy. He's got some part-time people on staff. So there's ample support to take care of when they do get swamped, as most mechanics are these days, especially coming in with the snow and the ice and the sleet coming. So a lot of winter tires being put on, a lot of winter updates being done to vehicles. So they're good to go. And I really enjoyed talking to Joy and having a quick conversation with Mike. And we thank them very much through Hosie and Brown for being a part of the Hosie and Brown family. And they treat their customers like family. So we're all one great big happy family. And I'm going to finish right now by pouring a little shot as we shut that part down and wish my dear friend, my favorite player of all time. I still remember watching him when he caught my eye for the first time. The very, very, very first name I remember watching on the Montreal Canadiens was Henri Richard, followed very quickly by Jean Beliveau. The particular game that I was allowed to watch, which in those days was just the end of the first period. I mean, when I was 6, 7, 8 years of age, the games just switched from 8:30 starts on TV to 8 o'clock, and I had to go to bed. Dad would let me at that point. I could stay up till the end of the first period, even on a Saturday. It was bedtime, man. By the time I was 9, I started to be able to watch complete games, and it was impossible not to notice Yvan Cournoyer on the ice at that point. There was just nobody in the league as fast as him, and I just gravitated to him. By the time I was 9 or 10, I was 100% hooked on him as my favorite player. And as I went through my latter years before I became a teenager, and then through my teenage years and all those great times watching the Habs and the Stanley Cup and starting to go to the Montreal Forum, if anybody had said to me, yeah, you're one day going to become a friend of his and his fantastic wife, Evelyn and their children, and I just obviously never would have believed it. So, to my dear friend, on his 78th birthday, may you have many more. I wish you health and happiness continued, and strength of family, love of family, and thank you, just thank you for the thrills and the memories, not just for the Montreal Canadiens, but for what you helped do for Team Canada in 1972. Merci, Yvan. Bon fête, and everybody, have a good one. We'll catch you next week. G'day.